Well, let's get into some news, guys. We are live here, BSing with the guys. I am Shane. Beneath me is Brad. Above me is Justin. If you're watching, we welcome you. Of course, big news, that stabbing that took place in Texas, in high school kids. I'm sure y'all know the story. If not, I mean, we'll gloss over it real quick just in case people watching don't. But
yeah, it's definitely been some big news.
Yeah, we're at a high school track meet, I think, and
yes,
apparently I don't even know how to describe them because I don't know their names. But one was black, one was white. So the black guy's sitting under a tent. White guy doesn't think he belongs there, which apparently he didn't. Told him to move. Dude basically said, "I ain't going nowhere." White guy says, "Well, I'll make you." And the black guy, I think, was quoted as saying, "Touch me and you'll find out," or something like that.
Right.
So apparently he walks over there and touches him. Guess puts his hands on him to move him. Black kid pulls a knife out of a bag and stabs him, kills the kid. Now, he's claiming self-defense. I think they charged him now with first-degree murder.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that's what.
And which was odd to me. I mean, first degree. You think he planned on? I mean, like, how did they make that call? You know what I mean? Because isn't that where you set out to kill somebody, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it falls in the category of like premeditation. You know, like even if you don't leave the house with a pre-planned conspiracy of killing somebody, but you stop at a red light and hop out the car and shoot somebody in the face on purpose, you're getting first degree murder.
You're getting first degree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hold on, y'all hold it down just for a second. Let me grab my drink.
Yep. Brad, you followed that story at all? Have you seen anything on it?
A little bit. I watched a little bit on it last couple of days and a little bit today. Yeah. It's just a sad situation both ways. You know?
Well, so let me ask you this though. In this case here, do y'all think he even has anything to stand on with this self-defense claim? I mean, the guy did touch him, you know, which was going to get into the deeper conversation I was going to have on this, is whether or not, like, how far can you go in the name of self-defense when someone else doesn't have a weapon?
According to the law, as far as reasonably necessary, you know.
So who's making that
just to end the threat?
Who makes that call? I guess it's just
12 of your peers.
Yeah. Because I know it also says, that your decision to defend yourself by taking a life has to be what like every other rational thinking person would do. In other words, like, you can't just say somebody looked at me wrong. I thought he was going to kill me, so I killed him. Right. You know, that's not rational thinking. But when someone puts their hands on you, you don't know what their intentions are. You know, people die in street fights. Now, I'm not justifying what either side of this. I'm just, throwing out scenarios there and just trying to get people's thoughts on it.
No, and I've got a video that we'll play in a little bit, but it kind of goes over the same thing of a fist versus a gun in that case. But basically, the weapon being used against you has to put a reasonable doubt in your mind that you're going to go home tonight, right? So usually, in the eyes of a court, fists are not deadly weapons. There is a chance that you get hit, you fall down and you die, but it's not, the odds aren't there. Like, it just shouldn't be the first thing that pops into your mind is this dude's got just his hands and he's going to kill me, is basically how a court's going to look at it.
Right. So, and it's such a tough call because, like I said, technically, if somebody snatches you, grabs you, you don't know what their intentions are. And for two, like I said earlier, there's plenty of street fights where people, you die. Whether or not you meant to kill somebody, you get into a fight, you fall down, you hit your head, you're dead. So do you have a right, or should you have a right, to defend yourself by any means necessary?
I think you should in the right circumstances. Had this have taken place in an alley at 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody else was around that could have came to aid, maybe it'd be a little different. But you're surrounded by coaches, you're surrounded by people in the stands. I'm sure there was some sort of police presence there. You have to have no other way out of the situation. You know what I mean?
And it's funny you mention that because Texas is a stand your ground state, meaning that you don't have any obligation to retreat from a threat. Now, apparently, there are some states out there that you have to exhaust every other option before taking lethal matters.
When I say that you have to have no other way out of the situation, I don't mean it in a literal sense of running on your feet, right?
Right.
But in his situation, there's people you can shout for. There's, help that you can call for that is literally right there. You know what I mean? It's not like you're in a secluded location with this person that's gone mad and they're trying to smash your face in,
Right.
A reasonable person you would think would say, okay, there's people around, somebody stop this. Like, y'all see that, if and we're all going off of allegations here of
Right.
he said, she said, what was really said, what was really done, right?
Sure.
So if it did go down the way that they're saying it is, you would think your first thought would be like, back the fuck up, and then after that is calling some adult in the situation, being a child, It's like, hey, do you see what your man's doing over here? Like, somebody back this motherfucker up,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it I don't know, man. It's a tough call. I mean, so in your personal opinion, though, do you think someone has a right to defend themselves by means of lethal force, even if somebody just as simply as walks up to you and grabs you? Or do you think that's too far, to stick a knife in them?
No, I think it's such a hard question to answer, right? Because
it really
if Conor McGregor walks up on me and grabs me, I can
Yeah.
obviously shoot him in his shit because I weigh 120 pounds and he's a fucking professional fighter. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
that's another thing the court takes into account is size differences. Was the
Exactly,
physical
yeah.
ability of one far greater to the other to where it posed an immediate danger to this kid's life?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. If you have a UFC fighter walk up on you,
Right.
and grab you, well, apparently he's trained to hurt people, if not kill.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
or
but
if
so
somebody's
how?
got 200 pounds on you of muscle, even if they're
Right.
not trained, and you weigh 100 pounds and they weigh 250, there is a reasonable person would
Yeah.
look at that situation and be like, this dude can really
It's
hurt
just
the
so.
smaller guy.
It's just such a crazy thing because somebody, I'm not a big guy, but you don't know what the fuck I'm trained in. I
No
could be a
doubt.
fucking. I could be a fucking assassin. So now, if I approach somebody without a weapon, they have to take that chance that I'm not a fucking killer with my hands before they can defend themselves using lethal force. And look, but I don't want anybody getting butthurt. This isn't to defend that kid stabbing him. I'm not. It's not what I'm saying. To me, it's just tricky because you're right. You can pick certain people that you're allowed to defend yourself with, with lethal force based on what they can do to you physically. But how the fuck do you know that till you're in the situation? Like I said, I could be a straight up assassin. People don't know me, so why take that chance? Should you have the right to defend yourself no matter what, by any means necessary?
Well, I think what it's going to come down to is proving, was he scared or was he pissed off?
True. Yeah, you do have to be in fear of your life, not just
Were
mad.
you really scared, or were you mad because this person touched you? Were you pissed off because this person grabbed you? That's going to be the big difference.
Big difference between being scared and mad. I didn't think about that, and the witnesses, I'm sure the investigation, they'll dig into that, which they charged the boy for first-degree murder. So apparently they dug in they dug in it a little bit, and in their eyes it wasn't justified. But Brad, I mean, what do you your opinion on it? Do you think that's going too far no matter what, being able to defend yourself by taking a life just because somebody, puts their hands on you opposed to a weapon?
God, I mean, I would almost think that it's like you have to exhaust. This is my opinion. I would have to say I would try to exhaust every aspect of the situation to get away from it. And that would, of course, be my last call would be to take somebody's life. So, I mean, if there was a way that I could get away or run away or, I just, it's a bad situation there, dude. And I think that he is in the wrong for doing what he did. First degree murder, I don't know, but he's definitely going to do some time, I'm thinking, and
Yeah,
it's not
well,
based on
and
color or anything like that. But yeah, it's
right.
just
Well,
basically,
that's what I've seen it turn into. You just said the word about based on color. Is as
yeah,
soon as this shit breaks, all I
yes,
see is these people choosing teams based on their race,
yes,
instead of just, waiting for all the evidence to come out and
right,
say, okay, well, what happened? Why did he do it? You know what I mean?
yes.
Okay, well, here's my opinion. It's all about, oh, the black kid shouldn't have stabbed the white kid. Oh, no, fuck that. That white boy shouldn't have been in his face. You know what I mean? It's like, come
Yeah.
on now.
And
I
I
mean,
guess you got, like just said, I think you got to look at it like, was his life, was his life in that imminent danger that, like Justin said, there was plenty of people around, probably plenty of people in that tent that he could have just, walked away and got some help, or if he was that scared,
sure,
but,
sure.
uh, I think it went totally wrong, totally
Well,
south, and,
uh, that's what
it
I was
is
going to
where we
find.
are.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I kind of wanted to know. I mean, so you
Yeah.
think it's all varying from situation to situation then before you're allowed to use lethal force to defend yourself, in other words.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to try to de-escalate what you can, and then I think you have to, if you can, who wants to live with that on your conscience that you killed somebody? Now, look, they break it in your house, even that, that would want to be my last resort. But not to say I wouldn't do it if it was my family was in here and, or even on the street,
Sure.
and if that's what it came down to, of course, that's what I have to do. But I would try to de-escalate, I think, before it came to that. And if I couldn't de-escalate and I had no choice, then hey, you got to do what you got to do. And I know it's easier said than done,
Yeah. Yeah. That's why,
until you're in that position. But
right.
you would always try to de-escalate and
Yeah. Well,
you
because
know,
I think in this situation for sure, what went on in Texas, I believe it was, no pun, but overkill for sure. But should people have a right to defend themselves that way? Whether or not you would do it or not is a
right.
different question. It's just, should you have a right that, like I say, you don't know what this person's capable of that's walking up on you. Now, we
Yeah.
weren't there. I don't know if the guy was being aggressive or if he just put his hand on his shoulder. I haven't heard all of that yet. But,
Right. Yeah. We don't know the
if
true
somebody
facts.
walks
Yeah.
up to you in an aggressive manner and puts their hands on you to grab you, should it be
Right.
someone's right to get out of that situation by any means necessary? Or do you have
Well,
to stop and think, oh, well, I better not kill this guy because I might go to prison? It's like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah.
It's a
That's a tough call, man.
it is. It's
Yeah.
a
I
tough one.
mean,
And look, some people don't think, you should be able to kill someone in self defense no matter what. They have people out
right.
there that
Right.
believe that,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
foolish because I think there are certain situations where it's definitely unnecessary. This one wasn't, of course. I mean, I don't think the guy needed to
Yeah.
die, but big lesson here is keep your hands to yourself. You
True.
know,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
And you keep going back to thinking as well, and a justifiable, deadly use of force in self-defense is supposed to be basically you're in danger to the point you're not thinking about the future. You're
right,
thinking
Right.
I'm going to die right
You're
here
right. You're in the
if
now.
I don't
Right.
stop this threat. There's
yeah,
no
Exactly.
well, if I do this, like I'm going to go to prison. Like if you have that time to think, you're not in enough danger to use deadly force
true,
to
I
protect
agree.
yourself.
very true.
It's
Yeah, I
very
think it
true.
needs to be absolutely, I guess, necessary, but it's just so hard to get in someone's mind because, like I said, if in your mind you really thought your life was in danger, well, who's to tell you that you didn't believe that? Now, like I said, they do
Yeah.
look at it from a common sense thing that they're going to say, well, most rational people wouldn't believe that. Just because
Right.
somebody
Right.
bumped up against you, if you're walking down the sidewalk and someone's shoulder bumps you, well, you can't just turn around and shoot the motherfucker,
Yeah.
because that's not how a logical person would think. But
Hmm.
they also say that you have to prove that you were in fear for your life. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's that fine line right there, because like I said, you never know what another person is capable of, even
Right.
without a weapon. So in my mind, if I'm in a street fight, for one, it's going to take it's going to take a lot to get me to that point, but
Yep.
it's going to have to be a life or death thing if I get into
Yes.
it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
So, but
And I
And
think that's where I was going with it, Shane, and kind of basing it on my opinion. But this, what these two got into, yeah, like I said, I don't know enough about the facts to say if he was fearing for his life, like he's saying.
I
I don't know. I
doubt it.
find it hard to
I
believe,
don't
but
know if
yeah.
he was there expecting an altercation because he had a knife with him for one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right there is like, why did you have that knife? Now, not that he doesn't have a right to have, whatever for protection, but why, like, why do you feel you needed that? Were you going there hoping for something to jump off? Like, from what I understand, it was just a track meet,
Yeah.
In
It
a
wasn't like
stadium,
you were at a
right.
swap meet in Compton and you didn't know if some shit was going to, pop off. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's a
Does
tough
it?
one, man, and nobody wins in this situation. The whole
Nobody.
thing is fucked up for everybody involved.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
again, it's still a lot of he said, she said, but Buddy that died also had a twin brother with him. You know what I
Right.
mean? So now maybe you have two kids walking up on this one guy.
Well, that is the story that I was seeing from one of the sides is that they were both approaching him. So
Right,
now
and
you've
maybe they
got
were.
multiple people coming at you. I think you have
Exactly.
all the right in the world. Now, if that's the truth, I don't know. That's just
Right.
stories coming from one side. And, like I said, it was split right down the middle from before anybody ever heard an ounce of evidence.
Yeah.
It was just they showed the picture of the two people. One was white, one was black, and all of a sudden people started making decisions.
Right.
So I don't know. I did hear somebody say that he's justified in what he did because him and the twin brother were walking up on him aggressively, but we weren't there, so I don't really know. But if that were the case, then yeah, I'm not going to let two people approach me
No.
and beat the fuck out of me or whatever else their intentions are.
Exactly.
But
No.
like I said, no winners in it, man. It's a sad situation all the way around. Life was
It'll be an
lost.
interesting story to follow.
Yeah, I mean, somebody
for sure.
lost their life, and this kid's probably going to go to prison for a good portion of his. So it was just
Yes.
something that was so unavoidable. I mean, for one, I don't know what the deal is with him being in the wrong section, but it could have started there by not being if you knew better. And then also, just because somebody is, it doesn't have to result in this. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, look, I'll go get an authority figure to say this person's sitting in the section they're not supposed to be in. Can you please come and ask him to leave? But for some reason, this kid's like, I'm going to take it into my own hands. And now he's no longer with us. So.
And it makes you wonder too, man. Like I said, until all that evidence comes out, did these two have a beef? Because I know he went to a different school than him, and it's have they met before on a football field, or have they
Well,
met
I know.
on?
I'm sorry, Brad. Initial
No, go
reports
ahead.
was that they didn't know each other at all. That they,
I got you.
now that, like I said, that's initial reports. That was when
Right.
shit was just coming. Because the media, they want to be first. So everybody's just throwing
Yeah.
out
Right.
what they consider facts. But that is what I read in the beginning, that they really didn't know each other at all. So,
Right.
But speaking of all the self-defense thing, I don't know. Did y'all see that video of the GameStop? I say GameStop. This one here. I'll show you. Yeah, the GameStop employee that stabbed that. Now you can see the one kind of the back that we see his back. He's the employee.
Gotcha.
The big guy is a customer. So I don't know what they're beefing about, but you'll see in a minute. He pulls a knife out and stabs the cut right there. Stabbed him in the neck, and then now he's claiming self-defense. Do you see anything in that video that warrants being able to stab him like he did?
I really don't.
I mean,
Because
I
really
get
could
it.
have been de-escalated, man. He could have said, you know what, you're out. I'm going to get security. I'm going back to my post,
Yeah.
to my job.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I said, I don't know what started it, but to me, it shouldn't matter because the customer doesn't look like he's any threat really to the guy.
Not at all.
No.
But I mean, this was a damn employee. I don't know what the hell this dude was doing to piss him off that bad.
But the
No.
customer was always right, dude. God.
Even if he wants to stab somebody, the customer is always right.
Right.
No, Buddy's
No.
going to prison.
That's what I'm thinking, dude. There's no. I don't see any justification for that.
Not
You
at
know,
all.
That
'Cause-
case seems cut and dry. Now the
yeah,
thing
even
they have.
going back,
Go ahead.
even going back to what you were saying earlier, as far as like, I don't know what state that was in, but like your duty to, you have no duty to retreat in certain states, right? But
Right.
that doesn't mean that you can help escalate a situation. And then when it gets to a point where shit's getting dangerous, now you have legal justification to use self-defense. That is not what that means at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to do your best to, even if you're not de-escalating the situation, you can't sit there, going back and forth, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when shit gets serious, now it's like, oh, no, I'm going to shoot him.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but at the same time, like I said, there is no. So I don't know where that took place at. I forget, but like the one in Texas, like there's a stand your ground, so you don't have to even try to get out of the situation in a
No, you
place
don't
like
have to try to
Texas.
get out of it, but you
You know.
can't help build it
Yeah,
up to a
right.
point.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and in that
Yes.
case, in that GameStop shit, man, it looked like that could have been totally avoided. There was no reason to pull out a knife, you know.
no.
And not to mention, I want to say the dude had the knife out way before, you know, like
It
so he
looked
was
like it.
brandishing that shit the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell really went on there. That was the video started with them arguing, but that case right there, I don't see how that boy is ever going to claim self-defense. Now, what they have going against him is it's on video. That one in Texas, apparently there's no video of it,
Right.
so it's just
No
a bunch of
video.
witnesses. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would assume every witness around there knew the kid that got stabbed. So
Yeah.
Right.
are they telling the story? You know what I mean? And what really happened or what led up to it. You
Yeah.
know? So it's going to be interesting to watch it play out. You know, I got into a little
Absolutely.
heated discussion with somebody a few days ago about it that, you know, they did not agree with you should be able to defend yourself in that manner, you know, just from somebody touching you. And I'm not saying you should. I was just simply, you know, bringing up conversation and just trying to get, you know, people's minds working on whether or not you should draw the line at certain places when you're able to defend yourself by lethal force, you know. And of course, there's always a line, but I mean, once somebody touches you, is it on? Or
Right.
do you have to assess it and say, okay, well, he's not really touching me in a lethal manner, so I'm not going to use, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything's so quick. So
Yeah.
Right.
it's a tough one. I mean, I guess stay
Well-
out of them fucking situations and you ain't got to worry about it.
Check out the video I just sent you. It's on private chat. But if it doesn't by itself, you could start it at 111, 112, right? And the backstory on it, because it's just going to start with two guys in a restaurant. But one is the security guard for this restaurant, and one is like a local homeless man, right?
Right.
And the homeless man has been trespassed from this property before, okay? Multiple times.
Right.
So the video basically starts about 10 minutes after this, and this day here, the security guard had told him he needed to leave, and he just wasn't listening, right? He wasn't like, fuck you, whatever. I'm sitting here, all right? And then the video starts.
So what minute did you say is best to?
About 1:11.
A minute and 11? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, cool. Well, that's quick. Let me see. I'm getting it set up. So if you're watching, bear with me. I'm pulling it up, just finding the right spot so we don't have to watch all the nonsense. Let's see. All right, let's go. Man, we need a better producer, man.
I'm telling you,
This is
Jamie.
nonsense. Nonsense. All right, let's see. The video's here. Let's pull it up full screen. Let's see what Justin's getting at. So what was he doing in the store?
Just hanging out.
Being an asshole or something? I mean,
Well, he's been trespassed for
Oh,
harassing
okay.
people, and
I got you. Ooh. Ooh, so why do they do that, though? What's it do? All right, well, I'm gonna wait till it's finished, but I'm already passing judgment, so
Yeah.
wait now. Because I seen the dude turn around. What'd he do? Shot him?
shot him in the chest.
Yeah.
He
So-
died. Security guard is currently in jail awaiting a first-degree murder trial.
See, here's where I see a big issue. Right here, this man turns around to walk off, and then
Yes.
look, right there, boom. So he's got all the right in the world to turn around and beat the fuck out that security guard, in my mind. Now, I don't know what was going on or what words were exchanged, but when that dude turns his back and goes to walk off,
Yeah.
unless he was threatening someone else, but he wasn't.
Damn.
Now, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen a couple on TV, so but you could see, dude, he was no threat at that point.
Nope. He
So
looked
what-
like he was about to walk
Right
out.
here. Boom. So what's he supposed to do once he smacks him with that? I would
Right.
do exactly what he's doing right now. I'd be like, motherfucker, did you just hit me with that?
Right.
Damn, no, I think that security guard's going down.
Yep. He is currently sitting in jail.
Man.
Horrible.
That is, man. Terrible. I don't understand I wonder what led to that. Like, why did it get so heated to where that was the
The only backstory, like I said, is that he'd been trespassed previously 3 different times from that McDonald's on like 3 separate days.
Yeah.
And then he came back. So I don't know if it was by the same security guard and they just had like a going thing. And then that day he was like, you need to get the fuck out. Dude was like, absolutely not. I'm staying right here. But
And fucking
that is,
security guards, man, they don't play, huh?
no.
Like, they gave that motherfucker a badge and a gun. He's like, I'm taking out the first person that argues with me in McDonald's. Like, son of a bitch. And that brings me, this is another one that went on. I'm sure you saw it, but you'll see it up there. The charter boat captain. You know? Now, I know you saw that motherfucker step on that dude's boat. Would that kid have all the right in the world to end that son of a bitch's life right where he stood when he walked on his boat like that?
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because
crossed my mind.
you can hear the fear in that kid's
In
voice.
his voice. Yes.
Yeah.
You can hear
Absolutely.
it.
He was afraid.
Genuinely just, I mean, like primal fear of this man.
You heard
right?
it, huh? You think his friends made fun of him? Because he was on there like a bitch, man.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Like, damn, dude. He was afraid, dude. Now, like I said, I think he would have been justified had he took that, to a different level and ended that dude right there on that water.
Absolutely.
What he should have done, he should have pushed his ass right when he was trying to get on that boat and just let his ass fall in the water like a
be nowhere
dumbass.
near that man.
No, let's watch it. Let's pull it up. Let me pull it up.
What he said, I'm on the water 300 days a year.
Dude, he's the best fishing captain in the world or some shit
Number
he was
6,
saying.
Shane. Pull up number 6 if you could.
All right. Let's see. There he is. I'm the best charter captain you will ever meet.
I just see us if you've got it playing.
And he wasn't a kid. The dude was like 20-something years old.
Yeah, he was 21.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a kid, bro. And it's like, no, you're not. You're a full-grown man.
Just to put it out there, we are taking applications for a producer.
Sir, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is.
You don't cuss me out. All right. To me, mother.
Yes, sir.
You don't do it.
Bro.
I wish you could see him get on the boat.
Please, bro. Please, bro. Bro, I'm a kid, bro. Please.
Damn. Anyway, so yeah, to me, that would have been justified for sure when he's getting on that dude's boat. Because I'm with you. You can hear the fear in his voice. So all you got to do is watch the video and say, yeah, he feared for his life. Now, granted, would any other rational person, I think to me, entering that vessel would be like getting in my car, trying to carjack me, or entering my home.
Coming into your house.
Yeah. Yes. That to me, that's cut and dry right there. Had that kid had a weapon on him, which honestly, I don't ever go on my boat without my pistol. So that dude would have had a bad day if he'd have pulled up on me like that. Honestly, not that I want to do that or that I'm looking to do it or that, I'm some kind of fucking, 007. But I promise you, he would have had a bad day had he pulled up on me like that.
Yeah.
Just being as aggressive. Like, we can discuss it. We can even argue a little bit. But when you pull up on me and you jump out your boat to get on mine, now we've got some problems,
Yes.
Yep. And I think that was in Florida. But,
yeah,
I mean, even in a non-castle doctrine, stand your ground state, like, I think he would still have a strong case of self-defense because there's nowhere to retreat to. Like, there is no retreating. It's
I didn't think about that. Yeah. Where are you going to retreat to? You're on a fucking boat.
Right.
Like,
we're on the same boat.
Yeah, that's true. Because in some states, they'd be like, well, you could have turned and ran. And it's like, I'm with, like, where are you going at that point?
Right.
That's
Like,
a good
now
point.
What's the
Just me
story
and
with
this
that?
guy
Was that like
stuck.
the other people on that guy's boat? Were they like fishermen or were they?
I think
do
they
you
were
know?
paid. Like, they paid him to charter, and
Yeah.
I think the kid was the kid fishing under the bridge, and that asshole came flying by.
Yeah,
And I know he was bitching at
something
the
like that,
younger kid, or I keep calling him a kid because he called himself that, but they were
Yeah.
bitching at the younger guy for not having his lights on or something. I guess it was
Right.
dark when all this kicked off, like it was dusk or
And it wasn't even the one in the video that originally had the issue. It was him and another boat were there fishing, and the charter captain sped through, and the dude on the other boat started yelling at the charter captain when they passed through the first time, like cursing him out
gotcha.
and shit. So when the charter captain came back and dude was still there, was when they got into that exchange.
I got
So
you.
he's like, it wasn't even me.
He's
The
like,
charter
"Well, fuck,
captain
it
was
wasn't."
hearing none of it.
Yeah, he didn't want to hear none of that shit. He's like, it was you. But anyway, so that brings, like I
He's
said,
lucky.
big topic, man. Like I said, it going on right now is just
Yeah.
how far can you go with self-defense and what justifies it as far as lethal, self-defense. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just such a hard call, man. Because, like I mentioned, before, you just never know what someone else is capable of, and you don't know someone's intentions.
Nope.
And so it puts you in a
100%
bad situation. I mean,
Exactly.
you just don't know. I mean, avoid it at all cost, which I think the one in Texas with the two teens could have been avoided big time.
Yep.
Because like I said, all the white kid had to do was go get someone else, an adult, to come and say, hey, look,
Right.
you can't be sitting here, and all that shit would have been taken care of.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
and I think a jury's probably going to say, did would a reasonable person feel like this other teenager is going to beat me to death in front
Right.
of all of these people?
Yeah.
There's a whole stand full of witnesses. Do you,
No, I get it. I was trying to argue for the kid that defended himself, but I'm with you. I don't think there's any justification for it, and I don't think he's getting off on this.
I think he's going to get a manslaughter charge.
Do you?
Yeah.
I
Because
think
they
he's
threw
gonna
first degree
get-
murder at his ass. Like, good God,
Yeah.
like what did he do to? Like, I wish I knew.
Right.
Like, I don't know what
I
he
don't
did
think
to
that'll
warrant
stick.
that, but apparently they heard or saw something. I wouldn't think you just
Well,
go
you know
throwing
what it-
first degree murder at him.
And it was like I said, I think maybe last cast I was on it. Sometimes the police will just throw the highest charge they can and then let the grand jury and the DA
Yeah.
decide what it needs to be, So, and that would be an interesting question for somebody. It's that if say these police have said, well, we're just going to book you with manslaughter, and come to find out the grand jury or the DA looks at it like, dude, really, this was first degree. Can they recharge him with a higher crime? I don't know.
believe so, because
Yeah.
you're technically like the police aren't really charging you with anything. They're sending a recommendation to the
Yeah, they're
DA
booking
to
you,
charge
basically.
you.
Yes.
They're saying, hey, this is what he did. This is what we think the crime that he committed is.
Right.
Here you go. And then they'll come back and charge you with formal charges.
Right.
So they can
Interesting.
so they can do that. But I just thought, isn't it? Man, I thought there was some situation where they can overcharge you and then you walk. I mean, is there anything that warrants that?
I mean, I've heard
or am
of
I just making shit
cases
up?
where like the DA won't charge with anything lower, like with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, how
Yeah.
he went in there and he was looking at first degree, second degree manslaughter, yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of cases where they'll only hit them with first degree and the jury doesn't agree. It's like you killed somebody in a malicious way, but it wasn't first degree murder, and the DA didn't try to charge you with second degree, so we have to find you not guilty, and then you
Gotcha.
walk.
I got you. Yeah, well, that's another one you bring up with the Kyle Rittenhouse. My God, if that wasn't a cut and dry self-defense and that
Right.
shit,
Sure.
this boy almost went to life, went to prison for life over that. Now, look, I know that's a hot topic. People probably still fucking raging over it, but I mean, come on, man. All you had to do was watch any of that shit. But they're about to stick it to his ass. But you're right. They didn't want anything less. You know what I mean? And I almost wondered, were they sabotaging themselves, knowing that this boy wasn't guilty?
Yeah.
As far as the prosecution.
I think it wound up that way, but because it definitely gave them a bad name, especially I think the worst part in the public eye on that case was when it finally came out that the victims were white. And the whole time, the DA and the media, they didn't want to say they were white. So they were swinging it like
Sure.
he just went out there and killed 3 black guys at a BLM protest.
They probably
and then it comes
people
out
to
and
this
it's like, well, The
I'm
victims
sorry.
are
I was
white.
gonna say they probably got people to this day that still believe that the people that he shot were black.
Oh, I
Because,
guarantee
like you
it.
said, that was a
Yes.
media run narrative. It's not like they said they were in the media, but they never said they weren't.
Exactly. And they
It was
knew what they
just
were hinting at by he shot 3 people at a
at
BLM
a
rally,
at a
you know.
right at a BLM rally. They that's all the media had to say, and then the people that didn't pay no fucking attention at all, that's what they ran with,
Yep.
instead of saying that he took out a damn sex offender or whatever. Wasn't it one of the dudes like in trouble with
Yeah.
kids or
One of
something?
them was like,
I mean,
one of them was beating his old lady at some point. One of them was a pedo, and
yeah,
so he did the world justice.
yeah,
But
seems that way. So anyway, well,
Well, the media, they ain't nothing but race.
there was a
haters anyway.
fire.
that's all. That's it. That's it. Now, Brad,
Yes, sir.
next
Okay.
one. Boom. Will China give in on this tariff standoff? What's going on, man?
That's a tough one, man.
Because they don't have long to make up their fucking mind. It's like midnight tonight or some shit. It's going
I
down.
see the chart behind Justin there, and most people, most countries have caved, and they're wanting to negotiate all of this stuff.
So
China,
what you think?
I don't know, man.
What you think making China stand their fucking ground like they are? You think they just kind of?
Well, I think China thinks in their mind is that we have what you want, and of course, the United States, we have become so dependent upon China. And it's not just the trinkets that you get at Walmart in the kids aisle or
Yeah.
whatever in the automotive section. I mean, dude, you got to look at it like pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
you said, it's not just bullshit trinkets that we.
No,
it's
it's-
medicine.
dude,
It's
they-
important shit. I mean, fuck.
It's medicines, it's TVs, it's everything. I mean, half the shit we use today is
Yeah, let your
Chinese.
fucking let your car break and you're looking for parts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I mean, we saw the repercussions of not being able to get what we need from China during the lockdowns.
Right.
And it's a shame how much we depend on them. Now, like you said, that may be why China's playing hardball, but at the same time, without us, does China survive? Without us buying all their shit. So
No,
it's almost
I don't
like
think they do. Right.
who needs who more? It's
Right.
a pissing match right now between Trump and China, and I don't know who needs who more. Because I know we have to be a huge part of their economy over there, and keeping their economy going is merchandise that we buy.
Yeah.
So
And I think if you look at it too in the aspect of how much, and I blame our politicians in this country, and I blame politicians and even our manufacturers, even our companies, if it's Apple or if it's all these other companies, for just outsourcing and selling everything to China. And I think it's to the point where I don't know how long it's gonna take to bring back, and I know Trump praises manufacturing, we're gonna bring it back, we're gonna bring it back. And how long is that gonna take? How long is that gonna take to set up all of these factories and get stuff being made here? And can it be made competitively to what China? No, it really can't. Not when it
Well-
comes to labor. Quality, yes, but labor,
Sure.
no.
yeah, well, and I mentioned that before. I hope
You did.
if we start manufacturing more shit in this country, I really hope it's worth the extra money we're going to have to pay. And then we're not just getting some shit that we could have bought from China for half the price is what I'm
And I
hoping.
think
Now,
too, man, no, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I think if they would reduce a lot of regulations in this country, if it's your EPA, your OSHAs, and other stuff, by reducing these regulations, can bring down the cost of things. I'm not saying do stuff in an
Yeah.
unsafe manner, but
Sure.
my God, you can look at California Proposition 65, and God, everything I get in the business I'm in, it comes with a tag, in California, this may be cancerous and blah blah blah.
Sure.
With that being said, I don't know if China is gonna stand down. I don't know why they would. I mean, to me,
Yeah,
they
he's
have
talking
the upper
about-
hand right now, man.
And I
You
want
know?
to say the tariff, it's 104%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean
As
everything
of-
coming from there is going to be 100 times more? You know what I mean? Like,
Pretty much. It's going to have 104% tax on it.
yeah. So you figure that's going to hurt the American consumer for
Sure.
at least the short run.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you justify that to the American people if you're, this administration? What do you tell
I
them to
think
make
it's-
them feel better about it?
Well, I think it's deeper than that too, man. And like I said, when I say it's deeper than that, I think there's a lot of currency manipulations going on with China. I do believe that they're manufacturing stuff so cheap, and then they dump it on the markets, and then they depend on these tariffs that are already in place against the United States. Um, is how they're making their money, and then they can manipulate their currency, and then they turn around and, well, we're hitting this, we're hitting the United States with all these tariffs. We're taking the money back. We're boosting our military. Um, yeah, look, and you just hit the nail on the head. It's going to be tough, and I mean, Trump has already said that it's going to be a rough ride, and you can see it in the markets, man. You can see what
Well,
the markets have.
and
People are panicking,
that's kind of where I was going with it. Is that that's got to be the reason that the stock market is doing what it's doing.
Yes,
Because it is,
absolutely.
people are
Yeah,
panic selling right now, and it's like,
yeah.
why not just ride this shit out, before you just start dumping everything like they're doing. I mean, they are freaking out right now in the stock,
Let them
man.
Yeah, you
dump.
got to look at
I'm
some people
buying.
have everything they own, man, in the stock market, and
Yeah, but it's
it's
like you
just,
got to figure this shit's going to get better. I mean, what,
yeah.
you know what I
Well,
mean?
it depends.
Dump
If you're
that
looking
shit,
for
pussies.
short-term gains and you got everything in it, then, well, you know what? Let me cut my losses and get out of here. Instead of losing 100,000, I'm losing
Yeah.
10. I'm out of
And
here.
the funny thing is what they're panicking about. I mean, you would think this is the lowest the stock market's ever been. You know what I mean? And it's really
I don't think
not.
you've seen anything yet. I really
You
don't.
think it's going to keep plummeting?
Dude, I say, this is me, little old me on this podcast. I say upwards of 40%, And the problem, it's going to affect your IRA. It's going to affect your 401k. It's
Right.
going to affect everybody's way of life for a change. And look, I'm with it. I'm for these reciprocal tariffs. I think it's the only way to even the playing field. Uh, and look, keep your powder dry, man, because Justin and I talk here and there on text, and I do believe that it's going to be a chance to buy in. I think it's a market correction. I think real estate's next. But
Yeah.
until they can get inflation in check, interest rates lower, uh, probably some type of stimulus you're going to see, if I had to guess.
Stimmies.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm all for it. So.
Yeah. I just know, I mean, of course, it's given the Democrats something to really run with because
Yeah.
things haven't gotten, I mean, nothing's really gotten better. You know what I mean? Like as far as cost and everyday's,
No.
everyday, cost of living, it
Yeah, but
hasn't
we're like
really.
80 days. How many days we in? 80,
Right.
90?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing both sides of it. You're right. I mean, we're not that far into it, but
No.
it's given them something to really run with. And then when you
Sure.
see the stock market doing what it's doing, it's like,
Yeah.
it's hard to have an argument besides, hey, it's got to get worse before it gets better. I mean, with these, because they're just, they're trying to say that all these little tariff tiffs that he's getting into with these countries is the wrong way to do it. And I don't know why people look at it like it's okay for them, to put all them tariffs on us, but when he turns around and does it to them, then it's an issue. We shouldn't be doing that because I know it sucks because I do think things are going to get more expensive in the country for a while, and most people are so, we're so used to being comfortable. Nobody wants, to be their little, bubble to be fucked with. So now when you got to go to the store and spend more money, nobody's looking at the long term. It's just, what am I going to have to spend right now? And okay, well, fuck this. This is pissing me off now, And that's kind of what I'm seeing from a lot of people in the center also.
I mean, look at oil. Oil is like way down. I just looked at it before we got on. It was what, $58, $59 a barrel. I mean, I've noticed the price of gas. That's going to help a little bit when it comes to moving goods. And of course, the manufacturing goods is going to be up there if we're dealing with China and these other countries on tariffs. But I'm all for it, man. I really do. If it means it's going to get better, I'm all for I'm all for the stock market to make this correction. People tell me I'm crazy, but it has to. I mean, and it's not new. This is nothing new. This is not just because Trump's in office, stock market is crashing. Dude, this has been going on since the inception of the stock market.
That's kind of what I was getting at earlier, that it's not like Trump has a monopoly on making the stock market drop. I mean, it's and this isn't as low as it's been. I mean, the people are acting like it's just never seen these kind of, it's like, come on, man, calm down. But
look,
and a lot of it's media.
People start jumping off of buildings, and
right?
That's when you got to worry, So
I mean, it's media driven. You know,
It is.
that's
A lot of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
the freak out, which is most of any time you're panicking over anything. It's all media driven. But now, speaking of percentages on these tariffs, what's that chart you got behind you, Justin?
That is one of Donnie T's
Oh,
charts that he was
that's the
holding
one
up.
he was holding up.
Yeah,
So
one
who?
of them.
So what is China? What is their? But I can't read the whole thing behind you.
Let's see, where's China? Let me see. I'll tell
I'm
you.
trying to see what they're already hitting us with.
And a lot of this is our allies. I mean, look, Israel was having tariffs against us, And
So,
Yeah.
if it was Vietnam, all
Right.
these countries.
China's on. I think it was like
Kenya.
67.
Why does Kenya have tariffs? What the
China.
fuck what do we get from
67.
Kenya?
Well, it was a blanket tariff, and I've heard it explained today because somebody was asking, or maybe it was yesterday, somebody was asking about the fucking island that they keep bringing up that's inhabited by only penguins, right? So
Wait. Go back to this. So there's an
Okay,
island
so-
inhabited by only penguins?
there's no humans on this island. It's strictly just inhabited by penguins, and we
Where's
have
this
a 10%
island at?
tariff on it now. Somewhere by Australia or some shit.
Oh, cool.
But we have a tariff on it, right? So everybody's like, "Oh, Trump's so stupid. He tariffs this fucking island that doesn't have people on it." Yada yada yada, right? But it was explained today or yesterday. I saw a video on it, and basically, he went with a 10% blanket tariff on everything because in the past, when he had put tariffs on a country, they would just ship their goods to a country that didn't have tariffs and then write the receipts through that country to get it to America without paying tariffs on it.
Makes sense. Didn't even
So he
realize
tariffed everything.
I got
So
you.
you can send it wherever you want to get it to America, but you're going to pay this fucking tariff, basically.
that. Right.
So they were trying to get past paying a tariff.
Yes.
And they were like, nah, bitch, we'll just put tariffs on everything,
On
everywhere.
everything.
Yeah. I like
People are not.
We're going to send our goods to Penguin Island, and then from Penguin Island, we send it to the United States, right?
Yeah.
With no tariff. Okay. Well,
Yep.
we'll just put a tariff on Penguin Island,
Okay. See, nobody explains that when they call Trump or whoever stupid for doing it,
Right.
And then there's always a reason behind it. It's probably the same thing with Kenya because I know there's not much we're getting from Kenya. But
No.
Can't be.
somebody
But he
was going to
didn't.
use Kenya to send their shit, and then
Right.
Kenya would sell it to the United States, and it would be
Right.
tariff free. And then they're like, no, bitch, we're going to
Exactly.
we're going to go ahead and tariff Kenya's ass too.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
And
Makes sense.
So I know I was talking to you about these numbers here, which are the, basically against the U.S. and now what the U.S.'s reciprocal tariffs are, right? Okay, so I was like, why is there nowhere with these tariffs here? So apparently these numbers come from, he takes our trade deficit from said country, right? So say, we are selling $200 million worth of goods to a country. They are selling $400 million worth of goods to the U.S., right? He
Right.
takes that number and says, all right, there's a $200 million trade deficit. So out of the total, that's 50%, right? And
Right.
then he cuts that in half, 25%. That is our new tariff to that country. So
Okay.
basically, you're going to pay for half of the trade deficit. If you sell us more than we sell you, whatever the difference is, you're going to pay for half of it.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm waiting to see. Like I said, the big one they're waiting on is to see what China's going to do. It just sucks that we need. I guess I'll go ahead and say we need them so bad right now because we don't make shit over here.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
it sucks to say
absolutely.
that because we shouldn't be relying on any other country to keep this one functioning.
Yeah.
And like I had brought up earlier, you saw that during the lockdowns, during the COVID nonsense. I mean, it's terrible. And if that didn't open up people's eyes to say, okay, if there's any reason to bring manufacturing back to this country, that's a big one there.
Yeah.
Because Brad, you hit on it earlier with the pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of pharmaceuticals that they push on you that's bullshit and you don't need, but there are people that really need, if you got diabetes, insulin and shit
Just
like that.
insulin,
Well,
yeah.
when you're not making stuff like that here, now you're at the mercy of these other countries.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how anybody, left or right, can't see that. You know?
Right.
Yeah. And I saw a China government meeting that I think is going to complicate things further as well.
Yeah.
So basically, like when you buy Chinese knockoffs of shit, it's never as good as quality as the
Sure.
original, right?
Right.
So apparently that is because China and the US basically have an agreement that, like, hey, manufacture what you want, but follow our laws on intellectual property, right?
Right.
Don't copy somebody's shit and say, okay, no problem. Well, now we're putting tariffs. So China had their Chinese fucking government meeting and they were like, well, fuck America's intellectual property then. We're just going to copy y'all shit one for one. So any American companies that are making shit and we were making replicas of that weren't as good, now we're just going to make the same fucking thing and sell it. So, like, if you're Apple, now there's going to be a 1-to-1 of your iPhone on the market that's a quarter of the price from China. And it's going to do the same thing, the same way, no difference. Because they're making the shit anyway.
Yeah, they're making it anyway, right?
So they're just going to take them off the production line and say, this is China's iPhone. We'll sell to the world at $300 a pop instead of fucking $1,500.
Damn.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
Apple.
dude,
Speaking
you're
of
gonna
Apple,
see it
aren't?
with-
Oh, go ahead.
What's
I was
that?
going to say, isn't Apple building a facility over here now?
supposed to
know.
be.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard about Apple.
No, I heard
Just-
Tim Cook. I thought he was moving up.
$500 million they investing in some type of plant here.
Yeah, and I wonder
Yeah.
what that's if that's Trump's doing basically. Because see, I mean, the way I see it, it's not like
It
Trump's
is.
going to be president forever. Even though he's talking about a third term, but it's surprising me sometimes that that people like Apple do give in. If that's what this is even about. I just know as soon as he started talking about all this shit, all of a sudden Apple's announcing that they're coming over here and building a factory. So I was just curious if
Yeah, and I
that's
think
what
it's all
was
what Trump
driving
can
that.
codify, man, with these with a lot of what his agendas with these executive orders and what he's trying to do for the country. And look, I mean, you can like him or not. I think he's a good businessman. People would debate me. Oh, he went bankrupt 6 times. Well, so did Macy's, but I mean, they're still around.
So did Macy's.
Yeah, it's true. But when you sit back and you look at it, man, I think the guy has the interest of the country. I think he loves his country. And look, we have gotten away from just some basic, man, that really built this country. If it's oil or if it's steel, aluminum, manufacturing itself, man. We have been. I'll sit back and worry today. What do we have the people that want to work in factories? I don't know. We're such a soft country now.
Yeah, well,
It's just-
I was talking to an older gentleman today about that and just how the work ethic has declined over the generations, mainly because our lives just get easier and easier as it goes on. So
Absolutely.
you don't have to have that. But I've watched it
Right.
like, my parents' generation seemed like, still pretty good hard workers. And then
Yeah.
my generation comes up and there's a lot of us that were kind of starting to be, a little lazy. Like I wasn't in love with the fact of, or the idea of going to work every fucking day. In my 20s, I was like, fuck this, I'm
Right.
going to play, so I didn't have the best work ethic. And now I'm watching these kids come up and it seems like it's even worse, so I'm with you. Do we even have people that want to work in these factories, where whether it be
And deplorable lawn guy, he hit the nail right on the head. I mean, AI is going to replace, oh my God, it's going to replace a lot of stuff that we do on a daily basis.
yeah. Oh, AI. Oh, people are in trouble. Yeah. You better learn how to fucking code AI or something, or whatever the fuck they do to get it. Because AI is going to take a lot of jobs.
But there'll be a lot of people in this country, as around the world, that will just be what we call just a living wage.
Yeah.
Just to survive. And
no, I seen I passed
governments are going to have to step up and pay that.
I passed a sign this morning, a big billboard for a hospital over here in my town, and they're advertising robotic spine surgery. So eventually, I mean, AI for one can damn near replace your fucking, your doctor now, your nurse practitioner or whatever. You just type in your symptoms and it's going to tell you what the fucking options are. Besides being able to give you a prescription for something, but as far as diagnosing shit, AI is going to be here for that soon. It's already starting to do it. And then now you start to have surgeries done by these robots and shit. I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's like people are going to be hard pressed to find any kind of work here in the future, and it may not be in our lifetime, but it's coming where damn near everything's going to be automated. I mean,
It
why?
is.
Why? I mean, for one, you get fewer mistakes.
Yeah.
You don't have some employee who's having a bad fucking day. It doesn't feel like being there.
Right.
This AI and these
All
robots
sick,
don't give a
right.
shit.
No, exactly right.
And so, I mean,
Yeah,
I can't
it's gonna be
blame a
interesting to
company.
see.
Well, yeah, and I couldn't
No.
blame any company that jumps on that.
No.
You're going to get a lot better work, less attitude. I mean, I was at the post office the other day, and a bitch acted like it was a problem that I was in there utilizing their services.
Right.
And I'm like, aren't you here to send fucking mail from place to place? Well, I have something I need to get mailed. I left because I knew it wasn't going to be good. Hey, had I stayed there any longer and actually, told her what I thought about her attitude, it wasn't going to turn out good. So I just left and didn't mail what I had to get mailed. Because she
You
was
speak
kind
of the post office, and I didn't hit on it last time we were on, but you know that the United States Postal Service in 2024 lost $9.5 billion.
yeah. So the post office lost 9.5 billion. You said in 2024.
Yes.
I can see
Yes.
why.
And it's estimated, bro, by 2030 that they'll lose somewhere about 70 billion between
Good.
now and 2030. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Well, fuck them. Yeah, I hope they lose it all after the experience I had the other day. Because
I
like
think
I
they
said,
ought to privatize it. I think that would be the best thing to do it. You got enough
Why?
out there. If it's FedEx or UPS or even Amazon. I mean, look at the game they were on, dude. Jesus God.
I know.
They piss me the fuck off because they always tell me I'm gonna get my fucking package tomorrow until I pay for the motherfucker, and then they send me a shipping date for like a week
Who?
out. I'm like, you fucking bitch, Amazon.
Amazon. You got to get
Goddamn
Prime, bro. When they
motherfuckers.
tell
Yeah,
me
you gotta
2
get-
days, it's
you gotta
here.
get the double
Them bitches
Prime,
piss
dude.
me off. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you'll have it tomorrow if you order by 8 o'clock, and then I order it on a Sunday, and it's like, oh yeah, it'll be here next Monday. Like,
No, you got to pay for that
son of a
Prime.
bitch.
That's what I mean. As soon as Amazon starts letting me mail shit, fuck the post office. I'll be mailing letters through them, and it's coming. Somebody's gonna take them bitches down. Like I said, I don't know about the post offices everywhere, but that one over here in my town, man, them people are just miserable when you walk in there. And I get it; it's not a job I want to do either.
Nope.
But I didn't sign up to do it.
It's gotta be
You
pretty
did.
easy, no?
So when I come in there with a letter and you're acting like you've never fucking heard of this service before, you got this fucking attitude like you can't take, it's like, fuck off. Now, I guess she won because I left without mailing it because I saw where the conversation was about to go. And I'm thinking I'm fixing to go to jail. I'm in this fucking government building or whatever, fixing to go off on somebody.
And look, that's when you just say, you know what, I'm going to take my letter, I'm going to go to the UPS store. I might pay a couple of dollars more. And I'm gonna mail the damn thing, and it's not going to be an issue,
No,
it should.
Nah, you
like
should have
that,
threw a McDonald's Coke at her.
Yeah,
I see.
absolutely.
They talk about going postal, man. The customers are going to start going postal, man.
Why do we
That's
even
crazy.
get paper mail anymore?
I was wondering that too. I'm like, I was thinking that with paying bills. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
Brad may, but do people actually pay bills like with checks and shit and through the mail anymore?
Dude, I
Look, I
forget I
debate
have a
that with-
mailbox. Honestly.
Justin don't even.
I debate
like-
that with people, man. I am a statement guy. I like
hear
to
you.
have the paper. I'm old school, man.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. I just didn't
you know.
know, like, cause I mean, it's just they make it so easy.
Now,
just
writing
boom.
checks, I write a few because there's
Yeah.
a few vendors I deal with that don't do it online, but I still like
Yeah.
that paper copy, man, to staple.
That's
Justin
pretty
said-
1920s of you, dude.
Justin said
I'm
he didn't even
telling
know
you,
he had a
old school,
mailbox.
man.
Brad
that
wants a
mail.
horse and buggy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I forget I have a mailbox.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't until I tell you, the problem why I wind up at the post office because of course who mails anything anymore? You know what I mean? So then when I go to mail it, I don't have a fucking stamp, and I'm thinking, who the fuck has stamps anymore besides old people?
Right.
No offense to any old people watching it, but who the fuck has stamps laying around? Not me, because I do everything online.
Right.
And so the one time I got to mail something to somebody, I'm thinking, fuck, I don't have a stamp. I'm going to go to the post office. This will be easy. Well, I left without mailing it or stamps because of this bitch behind the counter. So
I'm glad
I
I didn't
guess
have to
I
mail
lost.
nothing to nobody because I forget stamps are a thing too. I'd have just stuck that bitch in the mailbox and wondered why it was still there the next day.
yeah.
I forget
It's
stamps
crazy.
are a thing. All
And
that.
it's up to like 85 cents, man.
Yeah, I saw that because the little machine, you can
ridiculous.
buy them right there with the your credit card or your
Yeah.
debit card and shit. And it was almost a fucking $1 for a stamp. And I'm thinking, good God, man, I don't have to mail nothing that bad. If you want to be happy at work, you need a wonderful
I agree
Karen
with
says
you,
if you
Karen.
want,
Yeah,
you need a wonderful
absolutely.
boss if you want to be happy at work. You're right.
No
You're
lies.
right.
Absolutely.
But most people don't. That is a problem. It's just the work, the environment at most workplaces now. It's just
Yeah,
toxic.
it is
Because you
toxic.
have a boss that somebody's on his ass for, make sure they're getting the most productivity out of him or her. And then, they're passing that on down to you. So it's just everybody's just in this rat race of, make more money, do it faster, and just nobody's happy. We're all you're stuck in it's a place you don't want to be at every day.
Right.
And it's a miserable existence, man, for some people. And I get it. Like I said, I get it. That's why I didn't really get into it with that lady at the post office, because I'm thinking, well, I get that she can't stand her job, but I didn't do this to you.
Right.
I didn't.
Right.
I didn't tell you to come work here. So put on a fucking fake smile like I do all day long and deal with it.
Right.
But I left. I got out of the situation because I didn't want it to lead to her having to defend herself and stab me. So
Yeah,
I
right.
left. See, I got out of that situation. That's how you deal with that.
Yeah. Look, so I've got something on work ethic, right?
Go ahead.
We were just on it. All right. So I don't know if y'all have been under a rock or not, but some tornadoes just fucked up Arkansas again.
Yeah.
Right. So the National Weather Service, after a tornado, they go through the areas and they check the damage so they can rate the tornado. Right. So the survey summary from the NWS, it starts right here. The tornado occurred in Branch County, Michigan. Tree damage, yada, yada. The tornado traveled northeast and then northerly, causing damage to multiple Amish properties. The wind speeds could not be estimated due to repairs already completed. The tornado caused the most significant damage on West Pearl Road, west of some other little town, where numerous large, healthy trees were snapped or uprooted. Major damage was also noted to an Amish home, but repairs had already been completed. Right? This survey happened 2 days after the tornado went through. The Amish had repaired everything already.
So they don't fuck around. The Amish,
2
Yeah.
days.
2 days they done repaired everything that a tornado destroyed.
Yeah, to the point the National Weather Service was like, we don't know what kind of damage it did here because it's fixed. Like, everything's rebuilt.
The fucking insurance adjusters come through like, what the fuck? Like, they had a tornado over here?
Yeah.
I know. I watch,
trees, buildings.
and it's, I don't even know how to word this without sounding like a piece of shit, but like when Katrina came through and you saw the difference between, what people that are watching don't know, the South Shore and the North Shore over here where we live. And it was like everybody on the North Shore from almost day one after that big ass storm came through, ready to get out there, start clearing shit, start getting, cleaning out their house. And a lot of the people in New Orleans, bro, it was months. And the house was in the same exact shape it was the night Katrina came through.
Yeah.
And look, I know it's not all of their fault. I mean, they had, elderly people but I mean, come on, man. As a community, everybody in every neighborhood, because that's what it was around here.
Yeah.
Neighbors were like, hey, what do you need? Look, I'll help you knock this out. When we're done, we'll come cut these trees in mine, or you help me pull out my carpet, whatever it took.
Right.
As a community. And you just don't see that a lot. But like you said, them Amish, they ain't waiting around on nobody. Them motherfuckers, they done fixed their house and made butter before the damn insurance people pulled up. They done churned some butter.
2 days they had it fixed. Like, I mean, you had a tornado incident. Could you imagine 2 days later? The neighborhood looks like nothing ever happened.
Like nothing happened. That's awesome.
Man, they're very independent people already,
I know.
Yeah.
I want to be Amish.
They're probably happy.
Let's do it, dude.
It's probably such a simple life, dude. Just easy.
I'm sure.
Dude.
I mean, you're working on a farm or whatever the fuck they're doing over there all day being Amish, but it would be just so much easier, you know what I mean? And all this rat race is bullshit that we're stuck in, It's
Amish
crazy.
don't give a fuck.
Nah, they really don't, man. They're just not trapped in this, bullshit that we are every day of just wanting and wanting and wanting, because that's all we do. We just want more.
And
It's all for what,
Yep.
Anyway.
All for them paper dollars,
Yeah. And there's still people, like, there's still houses in New Orleans that are fucked up from Katrina.
They
I'll
are,
pass by and, like,
yeah,
the windows
still. How
are
long
busted
ago
out.
was
There's still
Katrina?
X's.
Hurricane Katrina, 25 years now?
20 years,
20.
I think. Yeah.
It was 05.
20 years? Yeah.
20
Yeah, 20 years,
years.
and there's still places that are fucked. There's probably tarps still on people's roof, you
I
know?
guarantee.
Little
True.
blue tarps you'd see everywhere. At least the remnants of it just blowing in the
Yeah.
wind, you know?
Yeah.
Still see the
So
X's
true.
all over houses out
Yeah.
there, and it.
Yeah.
Sad.
What a time, huh?
Oh,
Yep.
I'm telling
That
you,
was
man.
crazy, dude.
Could be
It's
Amish.
crazy. Anyway, what else is going on in this crazy ass world? Well, what ain't going on? Huh? I did
yeah,
see.
you were right about that.
Damn it! I just clicked off of it. I lost it. I was looking at something, caught my interest on here, and then I clicked off of it too quick. Anyway. Well, stock market shit. What else? What else did we establish tonight? You can't just stab people because they touch you.
Right.
Apparently,
Good one.
some people would argue that.
It's a good
You
one.
know, but apparently you can get in trouble for that. So don't do that unless they're a UFC fighter. We did establish that.
Oh yeah, definitely. UFC fighter. Go for it.
So what's
I
your
know.
opinion, Shane? You think China concedes on these tariffs?
China, do I think they concede? Ooh, Lord. I think I know it's hard to answer because I've been going back and forth in my mind who needs who more, like I asked earlier, and I would think I want to say we're more important to China than they are to us, but I don't know if that's true. You know, I don't, because we so heavily rely on the shit that they produce.
Everything.
Yeah, so I really might think that they almost have the upper hand in this, and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not a expert on all this economy shit, but I almost think that they have the upper hand. They hold the cards. It's like, well, I'll tell you what, and you just won't be getting anything we make, or it'll be so fucking expensive people aren't. I don't know, because that's another thing. I mean, China doesn't want it to end. I mean, they don't want their shit so expensive that we don't buy it. But at the same time, some of the shit China makes, that's our only option for whatever the merchandise is, you know?
Well, it makes you wonder too, man, if you think out the box a little bit with that. Do you believe I would have to think China has, it's not just us. I mean, I would think the UK, are they heavily dependent upon China on stuff and other countries around the world? Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot of places that are
to a
dependent
degree. Yeah.
on China to a degree. I don't know about as much as we are.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't think so.
I don't know. We may be the biggest, I mean, we make China go round,
Yes, absolutely.
And I would think they know that. I mean, no matter what, who wants to kill that income stream, if you're China. But, I mean, he's slapping some heavy tariffs, so I guess the way they're looking at it is, well, it doesn't matter because we're not going to be able to sell our shit because it's going to be so expensive now.
Right.
So that's probably how they're looking at it. So, I mean, that's a tough call, man. But from what I understand, they have till about midnight tonight, I think, to decide.
Tonight.
I'm going to have to look that up, man.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be something.
I know. I don't know, man. It ain't going to be good in the short term, no matter what, but, people just need to look a little bit further into it. And I would think for the long run, all these tariffs and all that are going to force companies to come back over here, basically. It should work out in our benefit, but the problem is how many people can sustain it until it does, financially.
And I think I think that's another debate that's going on too. It's like, a lot of people are saying this needs to be done before midterms elections because that could really sway the House or the Senate,
Huge. Yeah, midterms are going to be big, man. If people are
Absolutely.
suffering, when the midterms come around and the average American is suffering, they're really going to start thinking like, shit, did we make a bad decision?
Absolutely.
Right. Like how many people are going to start regretting their votes?
Yep. And I believe the Democrats are going to do and you can see it now, they're going to do everything that they can to create problems and chaos, man, in between, So
yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think he's doing the right thing. I think it's the only way to get it straight. But, it's just like if you took yourself and you were in $100,000 worth of debt, you can't just walk yourself out of that overnight unless, like I said, unless you inherit money or whatever it might be. But for the most part, it takes time, right? I mean, you have to pay your debt down. You have to buckle down and get serious about paying your debt. And And that's what we have to do. We can't sustain 36 trillion. It's unsustainable. I know we've talked about that before. So something has to be done, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, it's costing us 3 billion a day in interest, man. You know, when you
Three
when you look
billion
at
a
do the
day
math
in interest. You
on the
know.
debt. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
we're spending
crazy.
more in interest on the debt than it costs to fund our military
Yeah.
every year. We're spending over $1 trillion a year, man.
That's
It's
crazy.
unsustainable, you know?
Hey,
So,
speaking of interest and debt, why doesn't the government like why wouldn't the government give out like mortgages and shit like instead of backing them through like FHA and shit? Because all right, so my house, right, through the life of my loan, I'm gonna wind up paying more in interest than I do for the house, right?
sure.
So why wouldn't the government, instead of like insuring and backing up an FHA loan, just give out mortgage loans?
Well, they do, man, in the sense of if you ever heard of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac or something like that, that's all government agencies to give out loans. A lot of times, what they do, if you watch like a movie, Margin Call, and what I think that was back in the early 2000s, what they were doing is they would give these loans with I forget the exact terminology, but it was no paperwork needed, nothing needed. You could just basically say, "Hey, I want to buy this house for 100,000." I'm going back when Clinton and probably Bush were in office. Yeah, I want to buy this house back then for 150,000. No docs, don't have to prove your income, anything like that. Guess what? Psst, give me the loan. They give you the loan. Then what they do with that loan is they bundle them up, mortgage-backed securities, and then they sell them. And they'll sell them to, if it's what is it? It's one of them GoDaddy or Daddy or something like that. Mr. Daddy or something like that is one of them. Or they'll sell them to a different bank. They'll buy them. They'll piecemeal them and say, "Hey, I can make the profit on this one and this one. Oh, we're going to bundle this up and we're going to get rid of it." So that's what a lot of them do. But the government does, man. If it's FHAs or if it's VA loans or if it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, but then they just bundle them up and sell them. You
Well, that's
know.
what I'm saying. Why don't
Um,
they keep them and collect the interest on it over time? We have a ton of fucking extra money, obviously, that we can send everywhere else, you know?
well, they do that now with student loans, and they do that with SBA loans. And every other freaking loan that they have out there. But which, that's a whole nother story about, all these grants and loans. I think that would be a good topic to hit on one night, how much money we spend and piss away and give away. But subsidies, and in the same breath, did we need to be subsidizing oil companies? No, I don't really think so. Or do we need to be subsidizing the green companies? That's the only reason I believe this Green Deal is really has any type of traction now is because um, the government subsidizes it. I think if the government said, "Screw you, we're not subsidizing it," and even to the form of Elon and Tesla, do you think if the government wasn't giving Tesla all this money that Teslas would be affordable to sell on the market? I mean, they're outrageous now. Can you imagine if you had no government backing or buy solar panels and the government's going to pay 80% of it? What does that tell you? And it's still costing you $50,000 to get solar panels on your house. So can you imagine if you didn't have any state programs or federal programs, it would be out the box to even afford. So
Yeah.
I think with that being said, yeah, I'm not in for subsidies when it comes to these, if it's oil companies or green companies.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where it's at, I think there's
Well,
other ways to do it.
I was pulling up that graph because you could see they were, 2022-ish, look where it's at. And then, we get up here and then it takes this dip and then everybody's fucking freaking out.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
I mean, they forget that apparently this is when Biden was running shit,
Yeah. Look,
That's
you
what I
can go
mean.
back. I mean, even if you went further back into to 2008, 2020, yeah, it's corrections, man. And look, the market is just so manipulated with the government pumping into the market money and treasury notes. It's due for a major correction. That's all I can say. And it's when I say major, I hate to use the word black swan event, but dude, I could see it. I really could. I could
what
see a
swan?
black swan event. Yeah,
Mhm.
I really could,
Better
man.
watch it.
And better
You get in
watch it.
trouble saying that word.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Save your
seeing,
powder.
man, they were talking about the federal government. They forked over $4.6 billion for new furniture since 2020, despite just half of the employees showing up for work. Like, they didn't even need all this shit.
How you like that, dude?
So then, it makes you wonder, like, who was related in government, who was related to someone that benefited from the sale of this furniture. Like who owned this fucking furniture company?
It had
Yeah,
something to
why
do
is
with
it not
Nancy.
being said? Like, I just read something today. Whoopi Goldberg was given a $19 million grant to push DEI on The View. Or
Really?
Stacey Abrams was given what, $1 billion for appliances, and she's from what, Georgia or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like the amount of money, and I think you and I have hit on this, Shane, when we talk off air. It's like, dude, if the government has that amount of money to give away from our tax dollars, dude, we are way overtaxed.
Yeah, they don't need all of it. If they can give that much
They
of our
don't
tax
need all
dollars away, you're right. They don't need to be taking it. But that brings me, while you're talking about that, I'm sitting here thinking, because all this is uncovered by what Elon has done with Doge, right?
Exactly.
So why have we not seen? We haven't heard any names. You know what I mean? As far as anybody with any kind of repercussions from what they're finding, because Elon is done. He's got to step out come May.
Yeah.
Right. Assuming he took that role as soon as Trump was inaugurated, well, then that means he only has so many days he can technically do that by law.
Right.
When he's appointed to that role, it's 100 and some odd days. Then, out of a 365-day year, he can only do that job that long. So if that's the case, then sometime in May or so, he has to get out of it.
Right.
So we're almost approaching that. And according to what they're saying, they found all of this money that was being pissed away. So why haven't we heard anything about someone being held accountable? That's the one thing, and that brings me to what I was gonna pose as kind of the last question was, if you had to grade this administration so far, taking in consideration about all the shit that they're supposedly finding, the Epstein stuff. I mean, Kash Patel, he was supposed to be in there kicking ass and taking names. I haven't seen him do a fucking thing. You know what I mean? And I know that some of this shit takes time, but the way they were talking was right out the gates they were going to start producing. Yeah. So,
I think that was a political ploy. I think it sounds good. It's hyperbole. When they said we're going to kick ass and we're going to take names, we're going to blah blah blah. And look, it sells, man. It does sell. But on the other hand, I do believe that it takes time, investigations, and and a lot of that. If you came right out and you started spewing names, man, you could be screwing up some major investigations, man.
That's true. You're right. Investigations take time. The only thing I don't like is
90 days in, man. That's what I keep saying. We're 90 days in.
True. We're only 90 days in now. But the only thing I don't like is all of this stuff that Elon was uncovering. They haven't even talked about holding anybody accountable.
No, not
You know what I mean? It hasn't even been thrown out there. At least I haven't seen it. As much as I'm on, X and just scrolling through all the news, I haven't seen anything about, we found this, it was going there, and it was coming from this organization or whatever. I haven't heard them threaten anybody. So they're just allowed to do all that. Why would they change once Trump and them are gone? What's to stop the next administration from starting the shit over again when nobody's held accountable for it? So all they had to do was stop it for a few years, and then they can get right back to it because nothing's going to happen. It just lets you, to me, it just really brings to light how untouchable our government is. The higher ups.
Any government? Absolutely.
Yes, they're fucking untouchable. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because there should be people when they're basically stealing money like they were caught doing with all of our tax dollars. Somebody should be held accountable. If I was doing that shit, I'd be fucking on trial right now.
Right.
Now, granted, I know Elon, a lot of it he chalks up to clerical mistakes, like shit was on auto pay for years, or some shit like that. Right. And I'm sure that's some of it, but there was some nefarious shit going on too.
Oh, absolutely.
And
all I can keep saying is trust the process. I do believe it's going to come out. When, I don't know. I do believe that heads will roll in some form of another. I do believe that in my heart, man, and I do believe there's a process.
Well, it needs to. It really needs to.
Absolutely.
If by the end of his administration that there's not somebody that Kash Patel or whoever it's going to take to go after these people that they're uncovering were doing dirty shit in the government. If nobody is held accountable for that within that 4-year term that Trump has, then to me he failed at least with that aspect of it. Because he promised us people were going to be held accountable in the government. in so many words, he was going to get in there. He was back to this, draining the swamp shit, and then he's got Patel on there, and he's just hardcore going to come in there and fight all this corruption. And it's like, well, let's go. Let's get on with it.
Let's do it. Right. Exactly.
Start naming some
Justin,
freaking names.
What grade are you giving Trump, dude? 1 being horrible, 10 being good.
Trump himself, I think, is doing most of what he's in the process of doing most of what he said he was coming in to do. Now, I don't keep up much with the underdogs, the
rest
people
of the
under him. But
administration.
as far as Trump, I think he's got his hands full fucking arm wrestling China right now.
Which is more of it's more his administration. I was complaining about, I think Trump's coming in and doing everything he said he was going to do pretty much,
right.
But you appointed people to start doing things. And I still got bad taste in my mouth for this Pam Bondi woman who hasn't released a damn Epstein list yet that everybody wanted to see. I'm still dying to see what kind of names are on there, man. What kind of high profile people are on there.
I reached out to her for comment, which we haven't heard anything yet, so
it's like, get the fuck out of here with your email. No, but honestly, I believe if there's any type of politicians, lawmakers basically that are on that list, we deserve to know as citizens.
Yeah.
And for them not to release that shit yet, and I guess they're still hiding behind we want to make sure the witnesses are. It's like, I'm not worried about the victims. I'm not worried about the victims. I never said release a victim list.
Right.
Give us the perpetrators. You know who they are. Yeah. They know who the fuck they are. So to me, it looks like it was just a big lie the entire time they were running. Was we were going to get in there and we're going to release this, we're going to release it. Day one, it's on her desk, we're going to release it, and nothing,
Yeah.
Could at least told the truth and said, look, I don't know how soon we're going to be able to release it. We'll do it when we can, but I don't want to promise nothing. That's not what they said.
No, it's not.
No, it's
You're
not.
right.
It's not what they said. It was so they fucking lied, and then that's another one that I think they failed on.
Do you think it could be that they, we're thinking how we are, like they have that shit together. It's together. It's a file. They know everything. And then they get in there and start seeing the file, and they're like, "What the fuck is this? Like, this is not anywhere near where it needs to be to release to the public." You know what I mean?
I believe that. I do.
It could be. Yeah, it could have been more complicated than they thought. And when they got in there, and like you said, and actually saw the evidence, was like, "Oh shit, it's not that easy. We can't just." But I just don't believe by now they don't have a client list.
Yeah.
Separate from, I don't know. I guess legally it may not be as simple as I'm making it out to be, but don't promise it if it's not,
right.
Because it probably is more complicated than I'm thinking it is to just release a list with a bunch of names on it and accusations. Yes. I get that, but don't say you're going to do it,
Right.
And then when you get in office, you're 3 months or so into it, and now you're just kind of hoping nobody asks you about it anymore.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's bullshit.
And it was kind of a show, Shane, when they would dance, when they not really dancing, but they were holding up binders, Epstein list, and and it was like,
when they gave them binders to the social media influencers and shit, it was a big show, and that's a slap in the face to the citizens that you promised this shit to. They knew what they were doing. It was all for photo ops. Here's these binders, and all these fucking people are up there smiling with these, the binder full of nothing. And to me, it's like, what kind of game are we playing here? Why are you building up the American people like that to expect something? Because no matter if you voted for Trump or not, it doesn't mean everything this administration does is perfect. And that's part of the problem with this whole political nonsense that goes on in the country, is that because you voted for a side, you can't even, look at it in a realistic way and said, hey, they fucked up on this. And that's what I'm doing right here. I voted for Trump loud and proud. Yeah. I'd do it again the way things are going. But this type of shit doesn't sit well with me when you make promises and you don't come through with them, And look, I get it. 100%. That's politics. That's what they do all the time. But we put Trump in there because, remember, he's not a politician, So he's not supposed to be doing what the every average politician does. And that's what's supposed to be different about him and his team. And it looks like they're playing some of the same fucking games that they all play.
Mm-hmm.
And it
I
just,
think it's
I don't
that
know.
deep. I really do.
I think,
and like I said, I think we have this two-tier justice system, and
of course we
people
do.
will never be held accountable for it,
No.
But goddamn, if it was you or me.
Well, when they start throwing out blanket fucking pardons for everybody, nobody can be held accountable.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, especially the Fauci guy. You know, what was it, back to
Right.
2014 or something? He's
Something
got
like
this,
that.
and it's like, what are we doing here? You know,
Yeah.
and then it's by a damn a president who damn sure he didn't know who the hell he was pardoning. That man didn't know nothing. So who really did it? You know,
The
It's
machine.
true.
yeah, there you
His little
go.
signing pin
man.
machine.
The machine.
Nah, I think next week what we'll do is we'll bring a Ouija board and we'll talk to Epstein on air.
We'll get the Ouija board out.
And we'll get it straight from the source, dude.
See if
He's
we
got
can
no reason
channel.
to hide anymore, right?
It's true. Is he really dead though?
Well, I guess we'll find out with the Ouija board
is
when he
Epstein
doesn't
really
answer.
dead? See,
Yeah.
we'll get the Ouija board. If he doesn't answer, then we know he's not dead. That's
He's hanging
foolproof.
out like we were talking early. He's hanging out with Elvis and Michael Jackson, Tupac, and
yes, he's on an island. Elvis,
he's on
Michael,
an island somewhere.
George
He's
Michael,
been on an
Michael
island,
Jackson.
apparently.
Yeah.
He's what? Been on?
I said he's been on an island. It's good with them.
They're all on Epstein Island still.
Oh Jesus, that's crazy.
Anything else you want to get off your minds? Oh, Brad,
Yes.
are you
Yes, sir.
buying one of these dire wolves?
Oh shit, yeah, dude. We forgot to talk about that.
Are you
I
getting
think
you
it's
one?
Pretty cool. I mean, that's like Jurassic Park shit, dude.
It is, dude. What's it been like 13,000 years or some shit? They haven't seen one of these,
Yeah,
or I say
crazy, dude.
seen. I mean, but had one of these.
And something like they bred it with was it a gray wolf?
A
or
I think it was a
something? They-
gray wolf. Yeah, actually the guy that did it, he was on. I was just watching on the way home on Rogan's his latest podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was one of the things they started off big trying to infatuated with the woolly mammoth is what
Which they said
really
they'll have done by
want.
2027.
2027 we're gonna have woolly mammoth, which I mean it's just basically a hairy fucking elephant, but still
A big hairy elephant.
yeah, but it's no bigger than I think it's either the Asian or the African. One of the like it's smaller than one of the elephants that we currently have. So it's not like it's just monstrous thing that we've just never seen before. It's just got a lot of fucking hair. It looks like Snuffleupagus on Sesame Street, but but it's like the question always comes up is should you be playing with nature like that? I mean, is it? I mean, we all saw Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I think
But
they go
I think
extinct
they
for
should
a
do a T-Rex.
Just make a T-Rex.
I think so, dude.
They
I
did
think they
make,
could get a gator.
They
and-
made woolly mice is what he made. They got like 26
really?
of them now. Yeah, they took that shit, whatever made this damn mammoth woolly. They did whatever they had to do with DNA. It's like super nerd talk that I would butcher, but they did what they had to do, and it wound up producing these like long-haired mice that don't exist basically, except for in this damn laboratory.
It's
So
scientifically interesting, but it's stupid. I want something dangerous. Like they need
Well,
like. fucking
that's what my
megalodons
concern
or,
is. Like you said, it's scientifically interesting, but it's not really exciting because it's not dangerous. But when is it
something
going to turn
dangerous.
that way? Which one of these assholes are going to make something that they don't need to be making when
Bring
you've
it
got
on.
that kind of power? Because
Look.
they're doing some, man, when you listen to this dude talk, they do just the crazy shit they're able to do with this DNA and all.
Listen, they're doing it with viruses, so fuck it.
They are. They're mutating viruses.
At
Now
least
they're
we
mutating
can like
animals.
hunt T-Rexes.
Which means they can make people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Technically.
Oh yeah.
They could fuck with your DNA and have somebody, a woman produce a child that is exactly what they want,
Yeah.
all by just changing the DNA. And that's basically what they did with these mice,
Yeah.
It's just the mice, the gestation is nothing. It's like 20 something days, so they can do it quicker. I think I think the mammoth or the elephant's like 22 months or some shit. So it's a long,
Yeah,
drawn out process to practice on elephants. But
yeah, because like you said with the people, like even today, what we're doing, like with the IVF and shit, I didn't realize until recently that if you went in for the in vitro fertilization, you could pick the gender of the child.
really,
Yeah.
I didn't
They
either.
can yeah, I didn't know that, and I was like, "What the fuck? You can pick?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can pick a boy or a girl when you go
Think
in."
that's now you think that's good or bad, being able to choose the gender of your child? I mean, you
guess
think
it's
that plays any
good.
kind of weird game with the way that nature, God, whatever you think is controlling all this? You think it plays a game that don't need to be played? Like you think everybody's born whatever they are for a reason, or do we need to start manipulating that? Is that dangerous?
It's a tough one.
Not
don't
that you
know.
should know the answer to that. I'm
But-
just saying, do you think it could
Yeah.
lead to something that's not meant to be?
Maybe, but I think in the short term, like you do have parents that are like, I want a boy, or, I really want a girl. And when the boy's born, it's just like, fuck that kid. You know what I mean? So it'll lead to less of that.
It'll lead less of that.
Somebody doesn't
Shouldn't they
spit out
practice?
4 girls and they're like, God damn, man,
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool if you could, because for one, I mean, people may not have to, have so many kids, because some people, they'll have them because they keep trying. Like, no, I want to get that boy. Well, then there's another girl. No, I want to get that boy. Well, then you got all these kids that you're trying to devote all your attention to 5 kids when you could have stopped at 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Had you been able to choose. But it just depends, man, on what's controlling this shit we call life, because it could be a game you're playing that you don't need to be playing with. And the same thing with these animals they're trying to bring back. I mean, I think it's cool.
Crazy?
I think it's fucking awesome that they got that far with this DNA shit, that people understand how to manipulate that and do what they want to do with it now. I mean, it's crazy. And the way the guy was explaining it, they've taken it so far where before, to change something, you would go from, like, it would take generations to change. You would change a little piece of the DNA, and then the next generation do it. Well, now they do it all at once.
All at once.
So as soon as this fucking mouse or whatever has this new clutch, or whatever the hell you call the babies that come out of a mouse, as soon as they have that, it's changed. Everything you wanted to change with 100% accuracy is done. And that's where this nerd that was on Rogan shit was talking about. I mean, it's amazing.
How long do you think before these like mega wealthy sports team owners start investing in this shit?
I see what you're saying. Like somebody who owns Jerry Jones owns the Cowboys. He starts
like,
buying
these
Drew
Brees.
laboratory made athletes.
Yeah.
It's coming, dude. Because I know right now, like, they asked that dude if he would sell these mice, and of course he's got people that are, hitting them up, like wealthy people, wanting this special animal, all these wolves that he made, but they're not selling anything. But it's like, it's gonna come a point where somebody's gonna profit off this shit.
Everybody's going,
because you think this is the only nerd in the world that can figure out how to manipulate DNA,
right?
Right.
So I'm with you. They're going to start having these super athletes, and all of a sudden the Cowboys win 37 Super Bowls in a row because,
Jerry
Jones is over there.
I want like 10% Breeze. I need like 35% Tom Brady. I need a little
give me
bit.
Michael Vick's legs, I'm with you. Yeah.
Jesus.
I'd do it.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
The money.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'd make it like a monkey that does it, The monkey.
Yeah.
I want a quarterback that's a monkey that can throw the ball, run. It'd be pretty cool.
I like it.
Yep. No. But anyway, I think they were trying to justify bringing back the mammoths, saying that it would do more for the ecosystem, like more good than harm.
Yeah, I mean, why not? They were here and they didn't blow the earth up, so.
Well, yeah, they were. It's just like I said, you get a lot of pushback on it when you start playing with shit like that, man.
And I was wondering the same thing, kind of the adverse side of that, like every time something gets close to going extinct, the like PETA and just the animal activity freak the fuck out. Like, if this goes extinct, the world's over. All the plants are gonna fucking die. The sun's gonna burn out. You know what I mean? But shit's been going extinct for millions and millions and millions of years, and we're here.
Yeah, I think there's I think there's a difference though if something's naturally going extinct and it in opposed to like human. You know what I mean?
But what about shit that went extinct from like the ice age hitting?
Right.
Shit that couldn't survive that, and it just died off completely.
But I think that's
the
natural
Earth came
myself.
Back.
No, right, it did. But look how long it took. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it was a few months thing and we were back at it. I mean, you're talking
but it wasn't
millions
like, I guess it was because of the ice age that it took forever to come back, not because of said animal. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, but everything serves a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it does, but I don't think it's world ending if that purpose isn't served. I mean, I think history's kind of proved that throughout time of shit getting just.
No, it does. Oh yeah, animals. I mean, look, it's survival of the fittest, man, and shit happens in nature where animals go extinct. It's just the problem comes in, with PETA's big thing is with people causing it, which now you're playing. Now, granted, we are the dominant. I mean, hey. That's another survival of the fittest. We're the smartest animals out there,
Yeah.
So, well, some people would argue that, but still, we apparently are the apex predator, because we have weapons.
Yep.
So, does that mean that, we have a right to do what we want to do with animals? And if that means they go extinct, then oh well, is how some people would look at it. But
I think
You
so.
know?
Just on the, I mean,
But then
it's hard to say no because of how small the Earth is, and compared to just
well, the problem
everything.
is like
we're just such a little blip on the fucking grand spectrum
Well,
of things. So.
well, we are, but it's like where does it stop? You know, suppose you because of humans interacting with something, you drive some sort of species to go extinct. Okay, well then there's another animal that feeds on that species.
Mm-hmm.
So now they either adapt or they go, or
Right.
they adapt in a bad way, and then they start. You know, you take away a bear's food, and I mean, you already don't want to be close to one. So now they're starting to, people are starting to die because of this, because these animals have to eat. You know what I mean? It's like it could cause this chain reaction
but
that a lot of people don't think of.
Imagine they would have shut down, nuclear science fucking 100 years ago because of where it might go. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like,
No, I get you.
It's science.
Yeah, I get you.
You got to progress into the unknown parts of it, or
Well, fuck, nothing
nothing
should go
happens.
extinct now. Not if these
right.
freaking couple guys in a laboratory are making animals. I mean,
Yeah, and
it's
we
like-
also, I mean, I don't know how anything goes extinct anyway. We breed them in fucking, the zoo. You just
well,
have zoo animals.
yeah, if they can get them, I don't know. I'm with
like
you, 'cause
global
I mean,
wildlife and shit, like they just.
and I'm always like, how do you know it's extinct? You went and counted them all? Like, how do you know something
Right.
is
True.
truly, besides like a dinosaur? I mean, I don't think there's a dinosaur roaming around besides an alligator. Still got gators, but,
I also wonder every time I hear that, like, they found a new species of an animal or something. Like, I think a new, a big ass tarantula was just discovered in Australia. Brand new.
I
right?
saw something about
So,
that.
I've always wondered when I hear those, is it something that's always been there, or are we seeing evolution
Something-
happening?
Yeah, something's evolving into this big ass tarantula or
Could be.
something.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because it could have been. I mean, I guess it could be that elusive like Bigfoot. I mean,
Right.
So I'm with you, but I did see something about them finding a new spider or something. And then look, I believe there's shit, just I don't know, man, thousands if not millions of things that just haven't been discovered yet.
Sure,
I mean,
I think
especially
so.
in somewhere like the Amazon or somewhere in Australia with all. I mean, there ain't no telling what the fuck's out there in that wilderness. Now, I know a lot of territory has been covered by man, but not everything. And then if an animal's survival instinct is to be elusive, well, they're some of them may just do a damn good job.
Right.
I mean, and then it's a whole different story. You start talking about the water, down in the ocean. There ain't no
God,
telling
yeah.
what's going on down there. But if we're just talking about land, I mean, I believe there's a lot of things out there that still haven't been discovered, and
Yeah,
things
like,
are evolving.
I mean, we don't even know. Even it's crossing my mind because there was a news story on it, and we're talking about undiscovered land. But like North Centennial Island, right? What
Right.
animals are on that island? We don't fucking know, right?
Is that the ones where you can't even visit because they'll throw a spear at you?
Yeah, the American just got
Yeah.
arrested last week for going.
Yeah, I'm with you. So on an island like that, there may be some shit that it's like, oh shit, like we thought these were
We didn't even
extinct.
know it,
Meanwhile, they
right.
got fucking dire wolves over there. I mean, I don't
Right.
know.
You because we just don't go.
Yeah, that's true. We should go. We should go to that island.
That's what that American dude just had the
What
thought
is
of
it
doing.
called?
Did you see that?
What is the name of it?
North Centennial Island.
North Centennial Island. We're gonna take a visit. We're gonna do a podcast from
I'm telling
live from because the fucking spear, right?
you. Did you see that American that just got arrested for going?
No, somebody
Like-
tried to go.
Yeah, like last week.
So who arrested
No,
him?
he didn't try to go. He went.
And what they do? Did they welcome him?
I don't know. I don't think he got to tell his story yet. He went straight to jail as soon as he hit mainland.
So wait, so he went to the island
Yeah.
and then lived to talk about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not talking. He's in jail, but yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was like last week. It just happened.
Damn, I didn't see that. So I want to, but what? It's illegal to go.
Yeah, it's because they say they made it illegal to go because one, the tribe has shown that they don't want any contact with the outside world. Like they just don't want anybody there, and we're bringing diseases to them.
Well,
so
that is true.
By
Yeah,
us going, we could wipe the whole fucking tribe out.
Sure.
Not meaning to, just bring a disease. So they've
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like,
just
look,
bring the
there's no
common cold
reason to
over
go.
there,
Leave them the fuck alone, and we're gonna make it illegal to go. So if you get caught going, you're going to jail. And that's
Imagine
where
being a
Buddy's
dumbass
sitting.
that really decides that I'm going to go check this island out, knowing the history of it. I mean, I was
Right.
joking about going, of course, but I couldn't imagine thinking that this is a good idea. you
No,
know, to go
it's not.
fucking with these people that don't want you there, and they will let you know. Little Terabyte, what's up,
Yo,
buddy?
I don't even remember his name because it's a foreign name, but they said he was an American. But
Yeah.
yeah, he did.
Damn. That one in what's that Snake Island that everybody, you know,
Oh
where there's
yeah.
like a snake every fucking square inch or some
Yeah.
shit. You know, it's crazy. A venomous one.
They
It's
must eat each
crazy.
other, huh, dude? There can't be
Yeah.
nothing left on the island as far as.
Isn't that yeah? Like, what did they eat? I'm with you. I mean, how many mammals can be left with all those snakes out there?
Right.
That's a
I
good
guess
question,
maybe
Brad.
birds or something. I don't know.
But still, I mean,
Yeah.
damn.
I know you love cruises. Have you seen the videos of the cruises recently? So that you can get on a cruise and go to Antarctica, like you can go see Antarctica, right?
Right.
But you have to
Yeah.
go through Drake's Passage, which is it's the most dangerous passage in the world. It's common to see 40 to 60-foot waves out there, right? So there's a bunch of videos from recent cruises of going through Drake's Passage, and these waves are just going over the tops of these fucking cruise ships. It's nuts.
The waves are going over the cruise
Yeah.
ships.
Yeah, it's like
God
special
damn.
built. It's not like a Carnival cruise ship. They're specially
Yeah,
built
yeah.
to deal with Drake's Passage, but they're still huge ships, and these waves are just crashing over the top of it.
No, not me. I don't want shit to do with that.
And like they have the front of the boat built kind of at an angle, and it's just full of windows, so you can see when the waves hit the boat. And like people are standing down there in front of the windows while the waves are just smoking the fucking boat.
Well, I watched him. It'd be like the military ships, man, the Navy.
Yeah,
And I mean, they are just on them 25, 30-foot fucking just I'm thinking, hell no.
There ain't no way.
Nope. If I'm in 3 foot of chop, I'm like, nah, it's time to go in. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine being out there. But I mean, I guess when you know, like, the ship can handle it, it's a different feeling. I don't know, but I don't want no part of that shit.
I'd probably go to Antarctica on a cruise
Yeah.
ship, but I do think about it, and I'm like, you know, they build these ships to go through it, but I'm like, that's also
Yeah.
what the Titanic thought, and
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
happened.
Little Terabyte checking in wants to know if we talked about the track meet. We did. Really just more discussing just self-defense in itself, you know, like as far as where do you draw the line, you know, if somebody touches you, is it your right to defend yourself by any means necessary? You know, it's kind of where that discussion turned, and it's a hard one. It's a hard one to say because, you know, my point of it was you never know what someone's intentions are, nor do you know what their skill level is when it comes to fighting. So do you just take that chance and find out, or do you defend yourself by any means necessary? You know, and I did say I don't justify what this kid did, so I don't want nobody thinking that, you know, as far as stabbing him. But keep your hands to yourself, man, and you can avoid all that. Keep your fucking hands
imagine
to
getting
yourself.
like approached and attacked on the street by like a slightly more deranged Kanye West. You know,
Getting attacked on the street, you said, by a...
just like a slightly more deranged
Is
Kanye
there anybody
West.
more
like, oh man.
I would just seeing Kanye approaching nowadays.
Just
be
like,
oh,
give
shit.
him another like 3 weeks to brew and that
Yeah.
Kanye West, you know?
I know. I seen he posted a picture of a red Klan outfit. I think today, you know, he's like, it just put the word red above it, and I'm thinking, this dude, like,
He's
what are we
not
doing here, man?
Yeah.
What are
Did
we
you see
doing?
his track list
No,
on
I
his
didn't.
album? No.
No. Are we
It's,
required to talk about Will Smith's new album that he came out with?
Did he come out with an album?
Are we required to talk about it or not?
I
I hope not. Making good
I
Lord
haven't
Will
seen it.
Smith.
I saw him going ham in the booth apparently, but I didn't know it was like a whole thing.
Yeah, he put out an album. I don't know what his deal is. Guess he's tired of sitting around his house after there ain't too many movies, you know, coming out
No.
anymore after he pulled that shit at the Oscars.
No.
But I'm
Yeah,
thinking
right.
you got to have enough money, man. Just go chill. Which I don't know. Do you ever have enough? I mean, I'm sure his cost of living's a little higher than ours.
A little
you know?
bit.
I mean, Kanye, Little Terabyte says Kanye is very misunderstood. I at some point, I do, but it's almost like he can go a little far with things, and I never know if it's he truly can't help it, you know, or if he knows that he's pushing buttons. I mean, there's some of the things I look at because I'm not a opposed to Kanye. I mean, I think some of his music is great. He does a great job. He's a genius when it comes to music and all. But it's like sometimes I look at the shit he says or does, and I'm like, whoa, like come on now. I mean, this whole Klan thing. I just don't get where he's going with that.
I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Oh God, he did a whole interview standing there in a Klan outfit.
Oh really?
He walked
Yes.
into the DJ Academics interview dressed as a Klansman.
That's been his kick now, and maybe it's going over my head. Maybe I haven't paid that much attention to why he's doing it, but it just seems odd that that's the route you're taking. I mean, I don't know what.
You got to look at his track list on the new album. It's all just Hitler and.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did see that.
And fucking,
the whole album's
track.
just
One
he's
of
on
them's
this.
Jared. I guess he's referencing Jared Fogle.
From Subway?
Yeah.
What a fucking loser. I forgot about him. This Jared from Subway. He had such an awesome gig. I mean,
fucked it all up.
Huh?
Yeah.
Just couldn't leave his hands off of kids, huh?
Isn't that something?
Seems to be
still in jail,
man. Oh
Yeah, he's still locked up.
Did you watch that documentary?
Yeah, I did. That's what I mean. It was getting bad. I didn't realize it was that bad until I watched that documentary. I was like, holy shit. But I'm thinking like, man, it's like all you had to do was just behave and not be a fucking freak, and you had a great life going on.
Yeah.
But some people just can't stop that. No.
Nope.
What you gonna do?
Kanye is now in a perpetual acid trip.
It's got to be, man. Don't he blame it on being bipolar or something, or
something like that?
Isn't that always Kanye's reason?
Yeah.
And I don't know. You figure eventually it's all gonna catch up to him. If it weren't for X, he wouldn't even have a platform anymore. Which is, it's a lot of people really, but I mean, it's like you're gonna say some shit or do some shit where everybody's just gonna stop fucking with you. And maybe he don't care. I mean, maybe he's worth that kind of money.
Touches Kanye right now.
Well, everybody gets pissed and he puts out an album and they're like, damn, that's a banger. They're like, this motherfucker's crazy. Fuck Kanye. And then he puts out an album and they're like, okay, yeah. Okay,
and he's just like, I mean, I don't think he cares if it gets canceled. Like, I don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah. Good for him. Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
All freedom of speech, I suppose. He's not really hurting anybody.
Yeah.
No.
Just makes you sit back and go, what in the fuck? Like, I want to be that wealthy one day. Just do whatever the fuck I want and say what I want. Yeah. Post what I want and don't care. Like, cancel me. I don't give a shit. I got $1 billion. But we still got to play nice. So,
Yeah.
Anywho, are y'all ready to wrap it up?
Yep.
Yeah, because I need another drink and it's all the way in the house. So, I know. Well,
Cool.
I got a fridge in the studio, but it has nothing in it. So, I got to go.
That's
now
not
you got to
good.
load up the horse and buggy and.
Well, y'all don't
get
come
those
here
fruits
much
down the
anymore. I
line,
used to
bro.
have it all loaded up and make sure we have beer. Karen, you don't have to lie, but thank you, Karen.
Thank you,
Karen,
Karen.
so, yeah. Good show, guys. Wait. What's Little Terabyte talking about? Is it weird that the swastika is eternally cursed? Yes,
I
it
think
is.
so.
And that's not even what it really, like, it's not like Hitler made that up.
No.
It's been,
Right.
they see that it's been used over time.
Yep.
I
I think that's a dumb human trait that anytime anything is associated one time with something negative, no matter how big or small, it's instantly just banned for life. You can't use it, and if you do, you associate yourself with that one negative point in history.
Yeah, AR-15s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
what that's
I mean,
the first
if
thing when
do
you
this and
mention.
you wave to people, it's like, dude.
Yeah,
he's a
you put
Nazi.
your
Yeah.
No, that's true, but a lot of people don't know. They just think, and look, some people do throw out the swastika thing because they're trying to, stir up shit, but it's not where it originated,
No.
So, but like Little Terabyte was saying, it's an ancient, symbol. Now, it's the same as, I guess, Hitler's mustache. You don't walk around with that anymore. Nobody
Not
can
on
wear
purpose.
No. You did that one in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can't
Well,
name
we
your
gonna
kid
get back in the
Adolf.
studio, dude, or what, man?
Yeah, I think hopefully this weekend, we're gonna bring Rob in here. Which, for anybody listening, he is a ex New Orleans police officer who was on the SWAT team, so I'm sure he saw a lot of action. So I'm gonna try to get his ass up in here and get him to tell us some stories. I'm gonna make him tell me some shit, because see, them cops like to be, even though he's an ex-cop, they like to be quiet, because they still have people that are on the force, you know. But I'm a pride, and I'm gonna try to get some good dirt out of them. So.
Hell yeah.
You know,
should
I
be
want to
good.
know. I want to talk to him about what all, because at a city like New Orleans, I mean, the SWAT was probably every day at somebody's
I
house.
saw a car chase today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Louisiana State Police was chasing a Camaro going on the on-ramp by my work. He was getting
Hell
it.
yeah, yeah. It's an
It's
everyday
every day,
thing, man.
all day.
Yeah, everybody else
Yeah.
was just driving normal. Like, nobody was getting out the way or anything. They were just like, fuck
It's
it.
you're in New Orleans. Yeah, you're not even getting out the way. You're that's funny in New Orleans, man. The car chase is going on, and you're just like, man, what the fuck, man? Oh shit, yes.
Yep.
Go on. That's
Wasn't
crazy.
nobody doing nothing. They were
Unbelievable.
just driving normal, and boom, Camaro
Yeah.
flies by, state trooper flies by, and they get on the interstate, and they were gone. And
Little Terabyte needs some merch. We got to get him some merch.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
in.
send you something. If you ever want to, brother, hit us up. The email, you'll see it on our information on our main page. If you ever want, email us an address or something, man. We send you something. You're a big supporter, and we appreciate it for sure.
Send
You
you
know,
a
it-
BS
it look-
the guy's tuggy.
It'll either be one of the two. It's either a hat, maybe a shirt, who knows, or bundles of cash. I'm not going to say what we're going to send you, but we'll send you something. So I'll flip a coin. Heads, you'll be $10 million. Tails, it'll probably be a hat and a shirt or something. So we'll see how that works out. But no, seriously, email me if you're ever interested, brother. We'll send you something. But let's wrap this bitch up. I'm going to get a beer.
Yep.
Cool.
It's been fun.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully
Show,
we
man.
solved-
It was
we solved the-
informative.
Oh man, that's all we do is inform, solve
Absolutely.
problems. You know,
Yes.
anybody not watching this they're the ones missing out.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'd like to
Mhm.
say, man, anybody that's out here listening to us, watching us, man, email us, man, some topics, and we'll look at it and we'll talk about some stuff that y'all sent to us, man.
Damn
you know?
right.
So make
Yeah.
it a little more interesting, you know. So
Damn right, we
Yep.
will. But
Yeah.
reach out,
Yeah.
talk
If
to
y'all
us.
didn't hear, next episode we're on North Centennial Island with a Ouija board talking to Epstein. So y'all tune in. It's
That's
gonna be a
it.
good one.
We're doing
that should
it.
be good. Yeah, we have to get booze
Yeah.
on that one too, man. So
Hell yeah. Well, let's get out.
Absolutely.
Peace.
all right, brother.
Till next time, y'all behave.
Thank y'all.